Merry meet my fairy friends. Welcome into the Fairy Circle with Fairy Sarah. Today I would really love to share with you some tips about connecting to fairies, a new moon reading, and a really awesome experience I had with the fairies over the weekend. So let's start with the fairy tips. So the number one thing you want to do when connecting with fairies is be genuine. Fairies have heightened senses and can read human emotions really easily. And if you want to connect with them sincerely, to respect them, to love them, to understand them, and that you're curious about them, they will definitely want to connect with you. However, if you're the sort of person who, and hopefully you're not watching this, but if anyone wants to connect with fairies that doesn't give back, or that is cruel to others or selfish, the fairies will not connect with you because that is not who they are. Number two is offerings. So first of all, you want to state your intention, which is, fairies, I offer this to you, or fairies, I dedicate this to you. And anything that is creative and anything that brings you joy can be an offering. So if you want to put on your favorite music and dance around in the lounge room and feel the joy and wild and just say, fairies, I dedicate this dance to you, that is awesome. You can write a poem and you can create music or even woodwork. Anything that makes you happy, creates energy and joy is a great offering. Traditionally, and this goes back thousands of years, people would let the fairies know that they were their friends by leaving honey and milk out during a full moon for the fairies' full moon celebration. So what are we up to? Oh, number three. And number three is believe. My favorite quote is, those who don't believe in magic will never find it, by Roald Dahl. And he was a clever man. So it's really, he's asking us to believe without expectation and to be open to fairies without proof. And if you do this, so much magic is going to come into your life. So it's time now for the new moon reading. And this is going to be a really interesting couple of weeks because it's leading up to the full moon, which is going to be a full eclipse in the northern hemisphere and a partial eclipse in the southern hemisphere. And this is always a time for, I don't like to say change as much because I know I've been talking about change a lot lately, but it is a portal. And if you want to connect with fairies using some of those tips that I've shown you, or in your own special way, this is the time to do it because the energies are open and it will be so much easier to connect and so much more powerful. So what have we got coming up for us? Again, these are Wild Wisdom of the Fairy cards by Lizzie Cavendish. And I'll just say my blessing before we start. Merry meet and merry part. I honour you with all my heart. May this reading sing with clear communicating, pure divinating, and the love compassion brings. Accuracy is the key. An empowering reading I ask of thee. A few years ago I received a meditation about how to use cards for the fairies for a simple reading, and they showed me that the number one card to ask for is, what is the current situation? And the number two card is, what is our healing path from this? So that's what I'm going to do today. So, what is the current situation, fairies, that you would like to tell us about? Okay, again, I'm just waiting for a card to jump out. Okay, awesome. Okay, wow. So, the current situation is Gossamer Princess. Now this one is communication, relationship, work to be done. Okay, so when I have a look at this card, the fairy on it looks quite unsure She seems to be sitting a little bit separate from everything, maybe observing things. I feel like she might be hurting a little bit, indecisive. So what I get from this is that for us at the moment, we are going about our paths and we're still a little bit unsure. So whatever that means for you, if you've been trying to change, if you've been implementing changes, or if something's not working for you, it's about having that hesitancy and really having a think about what your next step is. I also feel like this card is that there is a person around us that is not helpful. And by that I mean they have hurt you, and they may have hurt you in the past. And when we are working on our dreams and things that we really want in our lives, sometimes it's best to not talk about it to people, even if we're really excited, even when things are going really well. It's best to keep it under wraps until you're feeling really, really confident that no one can bring you down. Because sometimes people around us, they think maybe it's their best intention, maybe they're trying to protect you or in their own way, but they may have a habit of trying to put you down or bring you down about your dreams because they may not understand it. They may want to try and protect you, or you know what, they may be just selfish. So I really feel like it's go quietly about your business, go quietly about your dreams, keep doing them. And I really feel like July is a time for listening. It's a time for being a little bit more quiet, and it's a time for letting things happen in their own time, as well as taking action, obviously, if you're doing your dreams. But really have belief and faith that things will, the more effort you put in, the more it will happen. And the butterflies in this card, there are 3 just like on my wall behind me, so I'm pretty excited about that. I've always found butterflies quite healing, and for me butterflies are always a beautiful sign. They're a beautiful sign from Fairy, but they're also a beautiful sign of encouragement, of we've heard your wishes, we've heard your dreams, keep going. And whatever they mean to you is important. It may be a loved one, or it may be a sign of growth or anything like that. Make sure you look at the card yourself, and whatever things are coming up for you, what I'm doing is a general, like just a generalization, but if there are other things in the card that mean something to you, definitely take that on board. So that's our current situation. So what about our healing path from here? Oh gosh, that just jumped out onto the floor. So sorry, I'm trying to pick it up with my toes. It's not going to work. I really don't like being off the camera. Just give me a second. I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. Oh right, so this card has come up for us quite a bit. Into the woods. So again, feeling a little bit hesitant, and I just want to let you know that you are totally supported. So this is all blooming around you. She may look a bit hesitant going about her business, and this card also says stranger in a strange land, new experiences, feeling uncertain, transition zone. I just want to let you know, keep going. You are totally supported. Even if you're feeling unsure, obviously don't do anything that makes you feel like it's wrong, pardon me, sorry. But definitely keep going. There are sparkles in this card. You may be uncertain about a new venture that you're trying or a travel that you're going on, but just know that you are definitely supported. And also so I'm just having a think about how I'm feeling about this card. Don't be afraid to take the first step is what's really coming up. If you haven't quite made that step yet, just know First step is always the hardest. It gets easier from here, and no matter what you're doing, practice makes progress. So good luck. I hope you guys have a really wonderful new moon to full moon, and you're going to try out some of my tips. And if you have your own tips and your own fairy experiences, please connect with me on Instagram, Into the Fairy Circle, Facebook, Into the Fairy Circle. Would love to hear from you guys about fairies in general and what you guys are doing. Also, I just wanted to share with you a fairy experience I had on the weekend. Merry meet again. I am so excited to share with you my fairy experience. So on Sunday, my partner and I drove out to Bribie Island, which is a little island off the coast of Brisbane, which is in southeast Queensland, Australia. And Bribie has a really special energy. There's dolphins that you see around, and it's quite popular for fishing and boats and things like that. But every time I go there, there is just this really beautiful energy there. And it's quite natural and wild still, which is really nice. So we pulled up at the sort of start of this bushland, and my partner had gone the other way, and I thought I'll just stand in the start of the bush, and just I could see these two little birds, and thought I'll just stand really still. And then all of a sudden there were a pair, and I was like, oh, they're fairy wrens. Little tiny birds they are. They're only about 14 centimeters long, and they have a beautiful song. And it was a pair. It was, the male has a blue, beautiful neon blue head, and the female is brown, and they were just singing and flying and fluttering around. And so I just kept really quiet, and the next thing, the male comes up very, very slowly, and then sat right next to me on a branch, looked directly at me and sang. Oh my goodness, it was so beautiful, and I really connected with this bird, and I really felt like it was a sign from the fairies just to say hello and connect with me, and through Fairy-Wren Birds. I mean, that is amazing. It was so cool, and I just wanted to share that with you. Fairies are so beautiful and so precious, and I would love for you to connect with them the way that I do. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, fairy, magical new moon to full moon, and lots of blessings your way. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone who watches makes my dream come true, and I hope that this is guidance for you and makes your dreams come true. Merry part.